Good evening, everyone. Sorry, it's been little delay. So let's start now. So if you have any questions, you can obviously put it in your chat box. We'll see. So there was some little technical issue, so it got little delayed. Let's start now. Gayatri, we are starting now. Varun, please start. Okay, we'll start. Fine. Let's begin. So what I do is first I'll try and give you some basic overview of percentage. Then we will take up certain basic questions that generally appear in percentage for your what you call the bank and SSC and railway exams. Let's begin. But before that, prerequisites is all of you should be thorough with your reciprocal values. Reciprocal values means fraction values. 1 by 2, 1 by 3, 1 by 4, 1 by 2 is 50%, 1 by 3 is in speed math sessions. We might have covered all these up to 1 by 12, including their multiples. That means 2 by 4, 3 by 4, 1 by 7, 2 by 7, 3 by 7, 4 by 7, 5 by 7, 6 by 7, 1 by 12, 2 by 12, up to 11 by 12. So there is basic requirement which is required for percentages or data interpretation or your speed math calculation, simplification, approximation. Reciprocal values are very, very important. You need to by heart reciprocal values definitely. Now let us straight away start percentage concept. Now let us say in the year 2017, the price of an article is 300 rupees. In 2022, let's say 25, let us take, the price of the article is 500 rupees. What happened to the price? Percentage increase or percentage decrease? If you have any questions, you keep sharing here, we will discuss, right? Now, what is the formula for percentage increase or percentage decrease? Difference by initial value into 100. Now, what's the difference here? 300, 500, difference 200. By initial value 300 into 100. 2 upon 3, it is 66, 2 by 3%. So 700 has become 400. Difference 300. See, what's the initial value? 700, right? By 700 into 100. 3 by 7, 42.85%. So what is difference? Difference is nothing but final minus initial. Same thing can be written like this. F by I minus 1 into 100. Final by initial minus initial gets nullified 1 into 100. Basically, when you are finding out percentage increase or decrease, it is dependent only on initial value and your final value. In between, I have 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24. What happened in these 4 years? What happened in these 7 years, 22, 24? There may be 7 increases, there may be 7 decreases, there may be 10 increases, 10 decreases, in between 100 increases, 100 decreases, doesn't matter. Percentage increase or decrease is only based on initial value and your final value. Having said that, let us say, to make you understand easily, initial value 100, I'll take final value 200. How much is the percentage increase? Initial value 100, final value 200. How much is the percentage increase? Yes, anybody? How much is the percentage increase? Difference 100 upon initial value 100 into 100. 100%. Initial value 100, final value 300. Difference 200 upon initial value 100 into 100. 200%. Initial value 100, final value 400. Difference 300, initial value 100 into 100. 300%. So what is happening here? Final value is 2 times the initial value. 100% increase. Final value is 3 times the initial value. 200% increase. Final value is 4 times the initial value. 300% increase. It is 7 times 600%. 8 times 700%. 9 times 800%. Final value is k times. Then percentage increase has to be k minus 1 into 100%. Right? Now if I say final value is 2.71 times, 2.71 minus 1, 1.71 into 100, 171%. Final value is 1.34 times. 1.34 minus 1.34 into 100, 34%. Right? So percentage increase or decrease is only dependent on your initial value and your final value. Now, let us say rate of interest, I'm telling you one more concept, is 8% this month. Next month it has become 9%. Can anybody tell me what happened to your rate of interest? Increased. Increased by how much? Increased by how much? Increased by how much? Anybody? Difference 1 by initial value 8 into 100. 1 by 8 into 100, it has to be 12.5 percentage increase. Now, if you take the difference here and if you tell me, sir, it is 1, don't say percentage. You can take the difference, but it is called 1 percentage point increase. 1 percentage point is equal to 100 basis points. 1 percentage point is equal to 100 basis points. Now, rate of interest is 8%. Next month, it has become 8.5%. I can say it has increased by half percentage point, or I can say 50 basis points. What are these basis points? RBI revised its CRR, decreased its CRR by 25 basis points, repo rate decreased by 50 basis points. 1 percentage point is equal to 100 basis points. Rate of interest 8%, it has become 8.25 percentage. So it has increased by 1/4 percentage point, or I can say 25 basis points. 1/4 percentage point, or I can say 25 basis points. Correct. Gayatri Rajesh, Gautami Priya, Pinterest. Correct. Manoj Reddy also correct. Percentage was 12.5%. If you take the difference, then it is called percentage points. Right? Next one. Let us say, answer this question. What percentage, correct Gautami, what percentage of 26 is 52? What percentage of 26 is 52? Out of 26, 52 is what part? 52 is what percentage? 26 denominator, 52 numerator into 100. It has to be 200%. Now, see, if you have anytime, anywhere confusion, what in the numerator, what in the denominator, everybody know percentage is into 100. Remember this. These are keywords. Any quantity that follows off, that follows that, we are comparing with that number must be in the denominator, other number in the numerator, percentage means into 100. If I ask you, what percentage of 52 is 26? After half, we have 52. So 52 denominator, 26 numerator into 100. 1 upon 2, it has to be 50%. You should know what quantity you should write in the numerator, what quantity you should write in the denominator. What percentage of y is x? Simple. Y denominator, x numerator into 100. What percentage of, correct answer, Manoj and Srija. What percentage of x is y? Correct, Gautami. X denominator, y numerator into 100. X is what percentage of y? We write x by y into 100. See, these two are one and the same. What percentage of y is x? X is what percentage of, I'm just putting it here, just changing the wording, but both mean same. Right? Now, let us understand the basic question of percentage. right? 4 basic questions of percentage will be there. Further, I'll give you some values. A value 40, B value 50. First question, B is what percentage of A? A is what percentage of B? A is how much percent less than B? B is how much percent more than A? Try these 4 questions. Try these 4 questions. We already discussed this. B is what percentage of A? We are comparing with A, or after all we are having A denominator, B numerator into 100. So A 125, C 100, correct answer. So B 50 by A 40 into 100. 5 upon 4, it has to be 125 percentage. Correct. So your correct answer. A is what percentage of B? So A by B into 100. A 40, B 50 into 100. 4 upon 5, it has to be 80%. Right? Now A is how much percent less than B? Correct. Pinterest. Correct. C is 25. Correct. Correct, Gautam. B is how much percent more than A? See it? Srija, correct answer. A is how much less than B? If I take number 10, how did we get this 10 difference? B is how much more than A? 10. How did we get this difference? Number wise, it is same. Either ways, A is 10 less than B and B is 10 more than A. Correct, Gautami? But here question is A is how much percent less than B, B is how much percent more than A. Less or more is given by difference between quantities. Difference than B. Than B means correct answer. Likely correct answer. Than B, I am comparing with B into 100. So difference 10, B is 50 into 100. 1 upon 5, 20%. Correct, lady, 20%. Srija, correct answer. B is how much percent more than A? Less or more is given by difference than A. I am comparing with A. So by A into 100. So difference 10, A 40 into 100. It is 25%. 25%. Right? Now, when it is number, either ways it is same, no? A is 10 less than B, B is 10 more than A. But when it comes to percentage, A is 20% less than B, B is 25% more than A. Why there is a difference in percentage? Can anybody tell me why there is a difference in percentage? When it is number, it is same, but when it is correct, like when it is number, it is same, but when it is percentage, it is different. Why? What's the reason? Because in both the cases the difference is same, 10 and 10. This 10 I am calculating with respect to 50, that is B. This 10 I am calculating with respect to 40, that is A. That means percentage is always calculated with respect to base value or reference value. Denominator value, Manoj, that is your base value, right? So percentage is always calculated with respect to base value or reference value. Right. This is an important point. Now, let me explain this point. What is the value of 30%? How much is the value of 30%? How much is the value of 30%? You should ask me 30% of, sir, what is the base? percentage should be always clubbed with its base. I have not given base. What is 30% of 100? How much is this? 30. 30% of 1000, 10% 100, 30% 300. 30% of 10,000, 10% 1000, 30% 3000. Same 30% is 30 here, it is 300 here, it is 3000 here. Why? What is the difference? Because my base values are different. Here my base is 100, here base is 1000, here base is 10,000. Because different bases will get me the same 30% will get me different values. Right? Correct. So same base, it will give you different values. So point is percentage should be always calculated with respect to some base value or a reference value. That is very, very, very important point. Now, if I ask you 30% greater or 50% greater, what's your answer? 30% greater or 50% greater? Anybody? Hama, I'm waiting for your answer. 30% greater or 50% greater? Right. Pinterest is asking of what? Very good. Answer is cannot be determined. No, Manoj, 30% is not greater. It is cannot be determined. I can't say because 30% of what? What is the base value? 30% greater or 50% greater? Of what? That has to be a question. 30% greater or 50% greater? If the base is same, then 50% is more, 30% is less. Let's say I'm taking base as 100 here, 50% will be 50. I take base as 10,000 here, 30% will be 3,000. It is 50%. Value is only 50. It is only 30%, but my value is how much? 3,000. So you cannot say by looking at percentage 30 is less, 50 is more, 50 is less, 30 is more. Percentage should be always correct, Gautam. It should be combined with previously, not 50. No, you should know the base. When is your answer correct, Pooja? When I say bases are same, then 50% will be obviously greater, 30% will be less. But I don't know the base here. So answer is cannot be determined because I don't know the base. So that was the first point I want to highlight. Whenever you are calculating percentage, percentage has to be clubbed always with its base. Percentage is calculated with respect to base value or reference value. Now, let me take one example. I'm asking you how much money you have. You're telling me, sir, I have 100 rupees. Then you're asking me, sir, how much money you have? Instead of directly giving you the answer, I told you I have 20% lesser than what you have. I have 20% lesser than what you have. 20% means 20 rupees. Less means minus. What's the money with me? 80 rupees. Now, can I say this way? Total in percentage must be 100%. Always, total is always 100%. I have 20% lesser than you. That means money with me is 100 minus 20. Money with me is 80% of what you have. 80 rupees. I have 10% lesser than you. That means I have 90% of what you have. Because total is 100, I have 10% less. So 100 minus 10, I have 90% of what you have. I have 25% lesser than you. That means 100 minus 25, I have 75% of what you have. I'm having 10% more than you. 100 plus 10, I have 110% of what you have. I'm having 20% more than you. 100 plus 20, 120% of what you have. I'm having 25% more than you. So I'm having 125% of what you have. I repeat, I have 10% lesser than you. So my value should be 100 minus 10, 90% of what you have, or I can say 0.9 times, because 90 percentage is nothing but 90 by 100. 90 upon 100 is nothing but 0.9 times. I have 20% lesser than you. I have 80% of what you have, or 0.8 times. I have 25% lesser than you. I have 75% of what you have, or 0.75 times. I have 10% more than you. I have 110% of what you have, or I can say 1.1 times. 20% more than you. I have 120% of what you have, or 1.2 times. I have 25% more than you. I have 125% of what you have, or 1.25 times. Right? Now, having said that, now see here, A is how much percent less than B? A is 20% less than B. If A is 20% less than B, This fellow A is 100 minus 20, 80% of B's value. A is what percentage of B? 80 percentage of. Look at the last question. B is how much percent more than A? 25% more than A. If B is 25% more than A, B's value should be 100 plus 25, 125% of A's value. See here, B is what percentage of A? 125 percentage of A. This is your percentage concept. Same formula, I can put it in formula also. Percentage less, difference upon into 100. Percentage more, difference upon into 100. Percentage increase or decrease, it is always calculated with respect to initial value. We all know that. Percentage increase or decrease is always calculated with respect to initial value or base value. If it is percentage less, simple. In the denominator, it will be opposite of less. Opposite of less is more. So larger value in the denominator. If it is percentage more, in the denominator, it will be opposite of more. Opposite of more is less. So smaller value in the denominator. Right? Now, compared with A, compared with B, forget all those. A is what percentage less than B? Percentage less, difference 10. Opposite of less is more, larger value 50 into 100. 1 by 5, 20%. B is what percentage more than A? Percentage more, difference 10. Opposite of more, lesser value 40 into 100. 1 upon 4, it has to be 25%. Right? Same thing, I can also use my formula. Right? Now, I'll ask you a question. A's salary, example, A's salary is 20% less than B's salary. By what percentage is B's salary more than A's salary? Try this question. What do you want? Pinterest? Right. Now, earlier question, what happened? I gave you A value, B value, 40, 50. I'm asking you questions. Now, in this question, I did not give A value, B value. I'm just given relation between A and B. A is 20% less than B. A is compared with B. So B is the base. In percentage, we always take the base as 100. A is 20% less than B. 100 minus 20, 80. By what percentage is B's salary more than A's salary? Percentage more. Difference 20. Opposite of more is lesser value. What is lesser value? 80 into 100. 1 by 4, 25%. Correct answer, Pinterest. Second one. Can I do this logical approach? Correct. B is 25%. Correct answer, Pinterest. What is this approach? A is 20% less than B. That means A's salary should be 80% of B's salary. Because total is 100, A is 20% less. That means A is correct, Govtjobs. 4 by 5 of B, Gayatri correct. 80% of B means 4 by 5 of B. That means I can get B is equal to 5 by 4 of A. So B has to be 125% of A. So B has to be how much percent more means what will we say? 25% more. B has to be how much percent more? 25% more. Third approach. there is no standard formula where which you can use. That formula says if A is X% less than B, B will be 100 minus X% more than A. So 100 into 20% less 20, 100 minus 20 is 80, 25%. I'll write here. If A is X% less, B will be how much percent more? 100x by 100 minus X%. B is X% more. One second. A is X% more. B is how much percent less? 100x by 100 plus x. This is formula approach. Fourth one, shortcut. A is 25% less than 20% less than B. 20% means 1 by 5. Answer should be immediate preceding fraction or succeeding fraction depending on the question. What is the question? By what percentage? No audible and visible? No audible and visible? Suyog? Yes. Okay. Shruti saying yes. Okay. Let us discuss successive percentage. Okay. Okay. We'll continue. Right. Okay. A value has increased by 20% followed by 10%. Value has increased by 20%, then followed by 10%. Now, okay, Manoj? Okay, fine. Value has increased by 20%, then 10%. What's the net increase? Right? What's the net increase? One second. One second. Okay, let's continue. I'm telling. We are discussing 20% increase and 10% increase. Right? Repeat shortcut. The shortcut is A is 20% less Puja. 20% is 1 by 5. My answer should be immediate preceding or succeeding fraction. 1 by 4 or 1 by 6. Now, which is more compared to 1 by 5, 1 by 4 more. So, 1 by 4 means 25%. This will work out only when there is 1 in the numerator. with 12, 120 plus 12, 132. So 100 becoming 132. So I can say 32% increase. First approach. Second approach, it is a successive percentage. No, what is successive percentage? You're increasing it by 20%. My second 10% is not on 100. My second 10% is on 120. It's not on, it is not 10, it is 12. Why 12? Because it is 10% of 120. Right? You take 100, you increase it by 20% into 120 by 100. Again on this 10% increase into 110 by 100. 12 into 11, final value becoming 132. So I can say 32% increase. Third one, this is very, very, very important formula. Net change is given by x plus y plus xy by 100%. You're increasing it by 20%, then by 10% plus 20 into 10 upon 100. 32% final value positive means increase. Now, let us say, I'll take one more example. I'll say one more example. 20% increase followed by 10% decrease. You can do all these approaches. Just I am trying to focus on net change. If I use this formula, what will happen? 20% increase 20, 10% decrease minus 10, 20 into minus 10 by 100. 10 minus 2, 8% positive means increase. I'll take this 20% increase followed by 20% decrease. What's the net change? 20 minus 20 plus 20 into minus 20 upon 100. Plus 20 minus 20 cancel, 0, 0 will get cancelled. Minus 4%. This minus sign indicates 4% decrease. Final answer is positive, it is increase. Final answer is negative, it is decrease. Now, am I audible now? Am I audible now? Am I audible now? Okay, fine. Let's look at this. Now, if a value has increased by this point, I would like to add here. If a value has increased by X%, okay, right. If a value has increased by X%, then decreased by X%, then overall there will be a decrease of X square by 100%. Value has increased by X%, then decreased by X%, then overall there will be a decrease of X square by 100%. Now 20% increase, 20% decrease, overall I can say shortcut 20 square by 100, it will be always 4% decrease. Now if I'm increasing it by 20% followed by 10%, then again I'm increasing by 25%. What's the net increase? Successive percentage, sir, I can apply to only two formula, no? 2 percentages, no? Apply for these two, you'll get 32. Already we have applied here. Apply for these two again. 32 plus 25 plus 32 into 25 upon 100. 25 goes 4 times, 4 goes 8 times. 65%. Now, can you answer? Anybody answer? Do I need to solve in the same order or I can take any order? That means I have to take 20, 10 first, then 25, or I can take any order. I'm waiting for your answer. I'm waiting for your answer. Answer? Can I take it in any order? Let me try 20 and 25 plus 20 into 25 by 100. So what will happen? 20 plus 25, 20 into 25. So this is 50%. Apply 50 and 10. So you are going to get the same answer, 65%. You take these two, then apply 20, you are going to get the same answer. It is not going to change. Why it is not going to change? Because, why it is not going to change? Because it is successive percentage. 100, you increase it by 20% into 120 by 100. Again, you increase by 10% into 110 by 100. Again, you increase by 25%, 125 by 100. Now, in this percentage, you write this year, you write this year, you write this year, you write this year. It is not going to affect your percentage. It's not going to affect your percentage, right? So you're not going to affect your answer. You take this any order because this is multiplication, it will remain same, right? Any order is correct. Gautam. Now, can you answer this? Price of the sugar has increased by 25%. By what percentage should the consumption be reduced such that expenditure on sugar remain the same? Try this question. Try this question. Which one minus for Suyo? Earlier question. 20 minus 20, 20 into minus 20, plus 20 minus 20 cancel, plus 2 into minus 2 will be minus 4 now. It has to be minus 4%. Okay, try this question. Anybody would like to answer this? Hama, what's the answer? Anybody? Okay, let me explain. What is expenditure? Expenditure is equal to price into consumption. Expenditure is price into consumption, right? Now, the basic method would be correct. Gayatri, correct. I will take price as 100, consumption as 100. Only reason you can take any number. XY also you can take. Expenditure will become 10,000. Price 25% increase. So obviously this will become 125. Consumption we don't know K is equal to, is your important point, such that expenditure on sugar remains the same. Right? That means last month 10,000, this month also it is 10,000. What is K value? 10,000 by 125. 125 goes 8 times in 1000, 10 into 8, 80. So last month 100, this month 80, consumption will drop by 20%. Right? 20%. Now, if I say, let's say, expenditure is equal to, I can use my this formula, net change formula, x plus y plus xy by 100%. Price 25% increase. Consumption, I don't know why, plus 25 into y by 100. Expenditure on sugar remains the same. Last month 10,000, this month 10,000. So this has to be 0. So 5y by 4 is minus 25. Y is equal to minus 20%. That means it is 20%. Negative sign means drop. 20% decrease. Right? Now, I can also use this short method. If price has increased by 25%, my expenditure should also increase by 25%. That means your 100 should become 125. But in the question, it was given that expenditure on sugar remains the same. From 125, you need to bring it back to 100. What's the percentage drop? 25 upon 125 into 100. 1 by 5, so 20% drop. 20% drop. This is a shortcut. Same question, same question. Can I do this? By what percent should the consumption be reduced such that there is an increase of 10% in the expenditure. There is an increase of 10% in the expenditure. Anybody would like to try this? Increase of 10% in the expenditure. I want you to try using all the approaches. Finally, we can use this net change formula. Right? Expenditure increased by 25%. right? So my price increased by 25%. This will become 125. Consumption, we don't know. There's an increase of 10% in the expenditure. Expenditure, there's an increase of 10%. So this will become 11,000. So K will be 11,000 by 125. 125 goes 8 times in 1000, 88. So 100 kilos was my consumption last month. This month 88 kilos. It has dropped by 12 kilos. So 12% drop. Use this formula. Price 25% increase. Consumption we don't know. 25 into Y by 100 is equal to net change. So what is my net change here? My net change here would be, last time it is 0 because there is no change. There is a 10% increase in the expenditure. So plus 10. Sometimes he will say 10% decrease in the expenditure. Then it will be minus 10. So if I solve this, 5y by 4 is equal to minus 15. Y is equal to minus 12%. This indicates 12% drop. Now 100 becoming 125. But in the question he said, boss, you cannot price 25% increase, expenditure will also increase by 25%. But in the question he is saying, boss, you cannot increase it by 25%. Maximum that is allowed is 10%. That means 100 cannot become 125, it can become 110. So from 125, you need to bring it back to 110. Percentage decrease 15 upon 125 into 100. 25 fours, 25 fives, 5 goes 3 times. So 12% drop. Right? So this, whatever I have discussed in the last 45 minutes, 1 hour, is a basic fundamental required for your percentage concept. Right? Now, having said that, now if you see here, this net change formula, where will we use this net change formula? Net change formula can be used in many places. It is very, very, very important formula. Right? You can use it for finding net percentage increase in 2 successive percentages. You can use this formula for 3 successive percentages, even 4 successive percentages. What will I say? 20% increase, 10% increase, 25% increase, 5% increase. So apply for these two, apply for these two. Whatever values you get here, apply for these two. You'll be doing one time. If there are 2 successive percentages, you'll be doing once. If there are 3 successive percentages, you'll be doing twice. If there are 3 successive percentages, you'll be doing 3 times. Again, this is useful for product of 2 variable questions. Product rule we say. What are those? Expenditure. Just now we have done. Price into consumption. Any product of 2 variable question, we can use this. Revenue, price into sales. Area of rectangle, length into breadth. Area of square, side into side. Like that, any product rule, any product of 2 variable questions, we can use this. Third one, we can also use this formula to find net rate of interest. ROI is rate of interest in compound interest. Again, compound interest is your successive percentage. So it has to be net rate of interest in compound interest. So this is a very, very powerful formula, useful in many places, right? So applications are many. Now let's start trying few questions based on these percentages, right? Try question number 1, students. Try question number 1 and tell me the answer. Try question number 1 and tell me the answer. I'll be waiting for your answer. Try question number 1 and tell me the answer. We'll be taking a few questions now. Right, so let's solve this. Let's solve this. You're not giving any answer, students. Please do answer, participate. In school, yes, There are two sections, A and B. There are 160 students in section A and 240 students in section B. In section A, 55% of the students are boys. Boys are 55%. How do you calculate 55%? 50% plus 5%. 160 is 100%. 50% is half, 80. 5% will be 8. 80 plus 8, it has to be 88. Right? Then 65% are boys. How do you calculate 65%? It is 60% plus 5%. Right? So 6 into 24, 144 plus 5%. 5% would be how much? 10% 24, 5% will be 12. 156. Or you can also write like this: 50% plus 10% plus 5%. 50% will be half, 120. 10% will be 24. 5% will be 12. 156. All of you can hear me now? Someone saying you can't hear. I got a message. Can you hear me, all of you? Somebody please reply. Can you hear me? Hama, someone please reply. Can you hear me? Yes, you can hear. Okay, check your internet connection. Mr. KV, check your internet connection. 65%. So it has to be 156. Okay, right. 156. Right. What percentage of total students are boys? Total boys are 156 plus 88. 244. So 244 by total students are 400 into 100. 61%. 61% is present in option 1. Just a second. Okay. Now, the same question can be solved like this. As of now, I will solve this through alligation rule. Generally, you discuss alligation rule in your averages mixtures alligation. That's a very important and famous rule which will help you solve many questions easily. What is alligation rule is, you write highest value here, you write highest value here, okay, you write highest value here, that is 65% are boys, lowest value here 55%. Overall average is how much we don't know. Let me write x here. This is 65 minus x, this is x minus 55. Right now, this is section B percentage. Section B, how many students are there? 240. You write strengths here and 160 here. Correct, guys? These two quantities are always mixed in this ratio. These two will be always in this ratio. 240 upon 160 is equal to x minus 55 upon 65 minus x. 8 threes, 8 twos. So 195 minus 3x is equal to 2x minus 110. So you'll get 5x is equal to 205, 305. X has to be 61%. Same question. This is a second approach. You can solve using your alligation rule. You can solve using your alligation rule. Right? Let's move it. Next question. This is a very simple question. 60% of k is 30 less than 75% of k. For your understanding, I am writing this. 75% of k into k, half means into, minus 60% of k is 30. 75% minus 60% is 50% of K is 30. So K is equal to 15% is 15 by 100. So 30 into 100 upon 15, 200. Or I can solve like this. 60%, 75% difference, 15%. One step if I want to write, if I have become comfortable with percentages, this 15% represents 30, 100% represents how much? 15 into 2, 30. So 100 into 2, 200. 200 is your choice 4. 200 is your choice 4. Right? Any questions? Let's move ahead then. Okay. Look at this question. Rakesh planned to spend 40% of his monthly salary on a mobile phone, but on the day of purchase, he had spent 18,000, which was 20% more than what he has decided earlier. What was decided earlier? I would like to spend 40%. That is what I have decided earlier. Right? But actual spent 20% more than what I have decided earlier. 40% plus 20% is 10% for 20% 8. So 48%. Now this 48% represents 18,000. What is his salary? 100%. How much? 100 upon 48 into 18,000. Right? So how much is this? 6 eights, 6 3,000s. Again, 8 3s are 24, 60, 375. So 37,500 should be your answer. 37,500 should be your answer. You have to reply. I'm waiting for your answers. You have to reply more. Okay, let's move it. Next question. There are three numbers. The first and second numbers are 20% and 25% more than third number. First number, second number, third number. Third number if I take 100, third number if I take 100, first number is 20% more than third number, so 120. Second number is 25% more, 125. Okay, sum of first two numbers is 198. 98, find the third number. So what I do is here, just a moment. I'll remove the common factor here. 5 is a common factor, 524s, 525s, 520s. These are in what ratio? 24 is to first is to second is to third. So sum of first two numbers. So 24 plus 25, 49 parts, value 98. 20 parts, how much? 49 into 2, 98. 20 into 2, it has to be 40. Choice 2. Choice 2. Look at question number 5. P is 25% more than Q. Q is 70% less than R. R is 60% more than S. If I take S as 100, R is 60% more. 60% means 160. What about Q? Q is 70% less than R. 10%, 16 into 7 you do. 112 is my 70%. 70% less means 112 if I remove. It has to be 48. And P is 25% more than Q. So P is 25% means 1 by 4 of 48. P is 12 more. So P is 60. By what percentage is P less than S? S is 100, P is 60. Clearly P is 40% less. Choice 1. Choice 1. Okay. Gayatri, correct answer what? Okay. Let's move ahead then. Correct answer, Gautami. In an exam, Gopi got 30% of the maximum marks, failed by 35 marks. Bhaskar scored 50% of the maximum marks, obtained 25 marks more than pass mark. Find the maximum marks. Now, simple. Gopi got 30% of the maximum marks. Bhaskar got 50% of the maximum marks. What's the difference between Bhaskar and Gopi? 20%. This 20% is equal to 60 marks because Gopi got failed by 35 marks. That means he got 35 marks less than pass mark. Bhaskar obtained 25 marks more than pass mark. So Bhaskar got 25 more than pass mark. So difference between them will be 35 plus 25, 60. Maximum marks 100%. How much? So 20 into 3, 60. 100 into 3 must be 300. First, just those who want formula kind of representation, maximum marks is equal to 100 into difference in their marks correct answer difference in the percentage. 100 into difference in the marks is 60, but difference in the percentage is how much? 20. It has to be 300. I can do like this also. Okay. Try this question. Try this question. Price of petrol first increased by 40%, then decreased by 20%. So what is my net change? Net change is given by x plus y plus xy by 100%. This is the formula, right? So 40% increase, 20% increase, minus 20. 40 into minus 20 by 100. 40 minus 20 is 20, minus 8, 12%. I can, this is successive percentage only. No, I can apply my successive percentage formula. 12% positive means increase. That means original price 100. What will be my new price? Increased by 12%. So new price has to be 112. Latest price is 56. 112 is given as 56. How much will be original price? This has become exactly half. Obviously, this will also will become half. So 50 should be my answer. 50 is present in choice 3. 50 is present in choice 3. Annual expenditure of Pradeep has increased by 50%. By what percent? he should reduce his new expenditure such that final expenditure is 8% more than original expenditure. So, annual expenditure, actual expenditure, 100 if I take. What about my new expenditure? 150. Because it has increased by 50%. By what percent it should reduce his new expenditure such that the final expenditure is 8% more than one original expenditure. This 150, I need to bring it back to 108. By what percent? It has to be decreased. 42 difference, percentage decrease upon 150 into 100. Right? So 5 3s, 5 2s, 3 goes 14 times, 28% should be your answer. Choice 2. Any doubts in this question? I can explain. Any doubts in this question? I can explain. Right? So expenditure increased by 50%. So 100 will become 150. Now what is happening here? 100 becoming 150. I want to bring it, make it 8% more than actual expenditure. That means from 150 you need to bring it back to 108. So percentage decrease you calculate. Right? So next question. Okay, two candidates contested in the election. 20% of the registered voters did not cast their vote. 15% of the votes found to be invalid. 10% were nota. So total, if I take 100%, total is 100%. Total is 100%. 20% did not cast. So remove 20. So 80% are my people who are casting their votes. These are the people who did not cast. Right. Out of these 15 plus 10, 25% are invalid. Nota and invalid both are same, right? You have to remove that. 25% is 1 by 4 of 20, 1 by 4 of 80, 20%. So remove 20%. Invalid plus nota. Left over 60%. The winning candidate received 60% of votes in their favor and won the election by, obviously, out of this, winning candidate got 60%. 60% means 36%. 10% 6, 60% means 36%. So leasing candidate might have got 24%. Because 60 minus 36 is 24. He won the election by 14,400 majority. So difference, he got 12% majority, that is given as 14,400. Find the number of registered voters. 100 is how much? 100 by 12 into 14400. 12 12s 144. 120000. 1,20,000. Choice 1. Which question you want me to explain, Suyog? Which question you want me to explain? Okay, let's move it. Value of a machine depreciates at the rate of 10%. Correct answer, Gautami. 10% every year. Difference between value of the machine at the end of first year and the end of second year is 27,000. Original value 100. It depreciates at the rate of 10% every year. So end of first year, 10% drop. So 90. Again, end of second year, again 10% drop. Which question? Can you tell me the question number, Suyo? 10% means 9 drop. So it is 81. Right? So the difference between value of the machine at the end of first year and the end of second year. Difference between at the end of first year and second year is 9. This 9 is given as 27,000. Find the original cost. 100 is how much? 100 upon 9 into 27,000. 9 goes 3 times. So it has to be 3 lakhs. 3 lakhs is present in choice 4. 3 lakhs is present in choice 4. So your which question you are asking me? Can you be little more clear? That 4.8 I can see or 4,8? Which one? Which one you have doubt? Fourth option. Correct answer. Correct answer, Gautam. Let's move ahead. I'm checking the chart here. Okay. Akhil spends 80% of his income. Income 20% increase, expenditure 10% increase. What will be the percentage increases in his savings? What is income? Income is equal to expenditure plus savings. Income is equal to expenditure plus savings. 4 as well as 8. Okay. Let me see. What are my savings? Income minus expenditure. Now, if I take income as 100, he is spending, expenditure is 80% of his income. 100 minus 80, savings are 20. Now, income 20% increase, 100 becomes 120. Expenditure 10% increase, 80 becomes 10% will be 8, 88. 120 minus 88, what are my new savings? 32. Percentage increase in savings, 20 has become 32. Difference 12 by 20 into 100. 60%. 60% is choice 4. 60% is choice 4. Okay. So you have some doubt in 8th question. Let me go back. Now what's the doubt here? Annual expenditure, actual expenditure. So you take 100. Now it has increased by 50%. So it will be 150. No doubt in this. Actual expenditure 100. It will increase by 50%. Correct answer, Gautami, 60%, right? Increase by 50%. So it is 150. So by what percent should he reduce the new expenditure so that the final expenditure is 8% more than original expenditure? It has become 150. Now my final expenditure is 8% more than 8% more than actual expenditure. That means it should be 108. From 150, you should make it 108. How much percent you have to drop? Difference 42 by initial value 150 into 100. 5 twos, 5 threes, 3 goes 14 times. 28%. Hope so this is clear. What is this? Is also simple number. First number is 20% more than third number. If I take third number as 100, I'm assuming it to be 100. I don't know. You take it as 100k because actual value we don't know. Second number, first number 20% more 120. Second number 25% more 125. What is common? 5 is common. Remove that common factor. They are in this ratio. So sum of first two numbers 49 parts is 98. Third number 20 parts how much? 49 2 is 98. So 20 into 2 40. I'm removing that common factor, taking the ratio. Okay. Otherwise, you can also do like this. First, second, third, you take 100x. This is 120x. This is 125x. Add these two. 245x is equal to sum of first two numbers is 98. Find x value 98 by 245. Substitute here. You'll get the answer. But I'm taking common factor out. I'm taking ratio. Hope you have followed here. Let's move ahead. Right. Next question. Question number 12, students. This is important. Mr. Akhil spends 20% of his income on house rent, 28% on food, 11% on clothes, 15% on education, 5% on travel, 8% on medicine, and saves 18-20. So, is how much is spending on house rent? House rent. is spending 20%. Food is spending 28%. Clothes is spending 11%. Education is spending 15%. Travel is spending 5%. Medicines is spending 8%. So what is his total expenditure? 20, 28, 39, 47, 67, 87%. This is his total expenditure. If I add all this, so what are his savings? Income minus expenditure. Income will be 100%. 100 minus 87, it has to be 13%. This 13% value is 1820. That is given in the question. He saves 1820. That is 13%. Total expenditure on education and medicine. This is education. 15% and medicine 8%. 23%. How much? 23 upon 13 into 1820. 3220. Choice 5. 3220. Right? Okay, let us look at this. Correct, Gayatri Rajesh. Man spends 40% of his income. Let me take his income as 100. How much is he spending? 40% on food. Food is spending 40%. So 40 rupees. 100 minus 40, 60. He spends 20% of the remaining amount on education. See, here what happened? He's spending 20% on house rent, 28% on food, 11% on clothes, everything from the total only. That is why we are adding. Here it is not like that. He's not spending 20% of 100. He's spending 20% of the remaining amount on education. So 20% means 10% 6, 20% 12, 48. 30% of the remaining amount on other expenditure. Other expenditure. It has to be 30%. 10% 4.8, 30% 14.4. If I subtract this, it will be 33.6. These are his savings. So 33.6 is given as 5040. 100 is how much? 100 upon 33.6 into 5040, or I can write 1000 upon 336 into 5040. No, what is, if you simplify this, you will get the income here. So 3112s, then 313 20 36 18 1680, then 4 8 will go, 8 2 tens, 8 14s, 14 ones are 14, 70, 14 5. So 15,000 should be your answer. Choice 3. 15,000 should be your answer. Choice 3. Right? You can also solve this question in a simple manner. I'll explain you how. One more way of doing this is, I'll tell you two more approaches. Have patience and listen. He's spending 40%, that is 2 by 5, right? %20 of the remaining, 20% is 1 by 5, 30% of the remaining, 3 by 10. So it is better instead of 100, you take the, because they are multiples of 5, you take it as 500. Any number you can take. 40%, 200 is spending on food, so remaining is 300. Out of this 300, education is spending 20%. 60. So this has to be 240. Again on this 30%, 72. 168 is savings. 168 is 5040. So exactly, then what is his income? 100 is how much? You can do like this. Or see, total income I is spending 40%. That means he's saving 60% of the income. 60% means 60 by 100. I am writing the leftover income. Savings I am writing. Because finally savings is given. So out of income 100, I is spending 40%. So how much is left over? 60% is left over savings. Again, out of this 20% is spending on education. So 80% are his savings. Again, out of this 30% is spending, 70% are his savings. This is given as 5040. How much is 60%? 3 by 5. I will directly like this. This is 4 by 5 into 7 by 10 is equal to 5040. 7 sevens 49, 14, 720. Then 12 goes 60 times. I is equal to 5 into 5 into 60 into 10. 15,000. That's the answer. I am writing only savings here. I am spending 40%. That means I am saving remaining 60%. I am spending 20% of the remaining. That means I am saving remaining 80%. I am spending 30% of the total. That means I am saving 70% of the remaining income. Right? We can do like this. Right? Try this question. Try this question. Don't write equation. If you write equation, anybody can solve. A reduction in 10% in the price of the apples enables a man to buy 2 more apples. I am having amount 72. I am not interested in equation. You can write equation, but I am not interested in that. Right? Actual price X. New price 10% reduction 0.9x. As price reduced, I am getting 2 apples more. Here, how many apples I'll get? 72 by X. Here, 72 by 0.9x. The difference must be equal to how many apples I am getting more? 2 apples. You can solve this, but let us not get into all those. Let us not get into all those. Now, here, I went to a market to purchase certain number of apples. I am carrying 72 rupees. Now, the day on which I went to the market, there was a 10% reduction in the price. Now, when there was 10% reduction in the price, listen very carefully. Whatever amount I am carrying, let's say price increased, your expenditure will increase. Price decreased, your expenditure will decrease. Right? When your price of apple has decreased by 10%, that means if you are purchasing same quantity, you will get 10% refund. So it is 10% of 72. 10% of 72 will be 7.2. I can directly write I am taking 72 rupees. If price 10% drop, whatever amount I am carrying, I will get refund 10% of that. So the shopkeeper is refunding me 7 rupee 20 paise. Then I told him, okay, price has reduced, so you're returning me. I don't want money. Instead of that, give me apples. He gave me 2 apples. What's the price of each apple? 3.6. This is my new price. If he's asking you actual price, it has reduced by 10%. So 90% 3.6. Actual price means 100% how much? 100 upon 90 into 3.6. So 36 by 9. So what is my actual price? 4 rupees. Not asking here, just I'm telling you information how to find actual price. How many apples you can purchase for 864? Number of apples I get for 864 rupees. 864 by what's the price now? 3.6 or 8640 by 36. 36 to 72, 144, 36 fours. 240 should be your answer. 240 should be your answer. Correct answer, Gayatri. Hope this is clear. If the price has dropped by 10%, logically I'm trying to explain this question. Whatever money I am carrying, my expenditure will also drop by 10%. That much money will get back. 10% of 72, 7.2 rupees, 7 rupee 20 paise is returning. So I don't want to take the money back. I told him, okay, don't give me money, give me apples. He gave me how many apples? 2 apples, right? So each apple cost is 3 rupees 60 paise. 90% 3 rupees 60 paise, 100% how much? You will get actual price. For new price, how many apples I am going to get? 864 by 2, 3.6, you will get 240 apples. Now, those who are comfortable with formulae, I will give you formula here. Original price amount by quantity more or less into x by 100 plus or minus x. Increase means plus will take, decrease means minus will take. X is the percentage reduction. If I am asking you to find new price, it will be amount. If you want to remember formula kind of thing, you can remember shortcut formula. Quantity more or less into x upon 100. So what is my new price? I want new price, right? Amount, I have 72. I'm getting how many apples? More or less 2 apples. Price 10% reduced. So into 10 by 100. Directly I'll get 3.6. So number of apples I get for 864 rupees is 864 upon 3.6. Or I can say 8640 by 36. To solve this, you'll get 240. Right? Fine. This is the last question. You try this question. This is the last question. You try this question. One season, a football team won 50% of the matches it has played before the winter break. It won 90% of the remaining matches. Okay. Before winter break, number of matches played. How many won? After winter break. It won 90% of the 50 matches after winter break. 50 matches, 90%. That means 45 has won. Overall 75% strike rate. So before the winter break, let us say it has played 2x. You can take x also. I'll get x by 2. I'm taking 2x. So number of matches won is x. So matches won x plus 45. Total matches 2x plus 50. Right? Is equal to into 100. Percentage I'm calculating, winning percentage. It must be equal to 75. 25 threes, 25 fours. 4x plus 180 is equal to 6x plus 150. I'll get 2x is equal to 30, x is equal to 50. Total matches played during the season. If this is 2x, so 2 into 15, 30. 30 before break, 50 after break. So total matches played is 80. Or you can easily solve this using your allegation rule which I have told you. It has won 90% of the matches after the winter break. 90% of the matches. Right? Overall, it has won before the break. It has won 50% of the matches. It has played 50 matches here. And how many matches it has played here? I don't know. X matches. What is my overall success rate? Win percentage 75. That's my average. 90 minus 75 is 15. 75 minus 15 is 25. So 5 3 is 5 5s. So 50 by x is equal to 5 by 3. So x is equal to 30. Before the season 30, winter break. After winter break 50. So total matches have to be 80. Right? So that's all from my side. So we have discussed the concepts and we have taken up questions relevant to your bank, SSC and railway exams. Right? So we wish you all the best. Thank you students for attending the session. Thank you for attending the session. If you have any queries, any questions. You can ask me, otherwise we'll wind up. Otherwise we'll wind up. Right? Right. So good night, all of you. I told allegation rule, Gautami, that is a short method for that. Okay. Right, well, good night, all of you.